On to our next order. Okay, going to call our regular council meeting, Monday, June 15th, 2026. 5:13 p.m. Ultimately, you requested shut all your phones off or silence them and get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Aiken, Commissioner Henderson.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Commissioner Prentice.
Here.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Here, please stand, take your hands off, pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Remain standing, please. Don.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day, and Lord, we just invite your presence here to guide the council and the decisions that need to be made tonight. And we just ask, Lord, for your protection of the citizens and bless each and every one of them throughout the coming days.
Thank you. Okay, get approval of the minutes, get a motion, please. So wait a minute, we want to move up, approval of agenda, but we want to move F, new business up to above A, new business, so that we can get the insurance family. Get a motion, please. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, done that. We get a public comment. Ma'am, you can say something now. You were too late to say something in the last year, but if you want to say something now, it's up to you. But anybody want to say, just raise your hand, give your.
I'll get paid this week. That's all I got to say.
What's that?
I'll get it paid this week. Fine.
The fine will be paid this week.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. But, sorry, but that's the way, I mean, it's business. All right. Moving on to anybody, public comment, anybody else? All right, moving on. Approval of minutes, approval of minutes, regular council meeting held June 1st, 2026. Motion, please.
Second.
All in favor? Board of Officers, approval of claims. Well, you got this.
I got you.
Okay. Approval of the claims to be paid between May 30th, 2026, June 12th, 2026, for amount of
$292,531.51.
so. Second.
Second.
All right, Megan, please.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Prentice.
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. Attorney's report.
No report this evening.
Okay, we'll move right along here. Report for city administrator report, staff quarterly report.
I had no report for the council tonight. I'll hand it over to Steve. I know he has a big report for streets and parks.
Wow, we're moving good. Hey, Steve, good yourself.
So I don't know if you guys have been over by the office building on 624 Eastern. The lean-to is gone, the loft building is gone, and the cold storage is gone. So I have a little bit of piles of brick and some else we cut up all the way, but it's taking real close to being clean. We did a storm sewer repair at Prairie County Lane in Belgium. It's been a slow flowing area for a while, and we don't have a grade, and we didn't have permission from the landowner until next month. We got permission from them to go out there and fix it, and we found an 18-inch corrugated plastic pipe that was smashed for about 10 feet from the previous contractors. And we actually demoed a mini excavator from Johnson Tractor to do the job in between the buildings, which is something that I would like to add to our fleet in the future, because it worked out really good. And then we did another inlet repair on the corner of Longest Drive in Rockville, and they're currently working on one on the corner of Center Street and South Lincoln. We're trying to do as many inlets and outlets as we can. We helped out PD with Memorial Day parade. We prepared the boulevard, did all the curb painting. I bought all brand new flagpoles for the boulevard and new flags, the ones that we had in this so outdated, they didn't make parts for them anymore. We did, we finished cleaning up on 731 Beloit, and the dumpster's been removed. Probably about a week worth of back and forth up there trying to get stuff cleaned up, and there was some nasty stuff in the ground that got cleaned up Friday. So and I had to get Ryan, Greg, and Big Pam after doing that, because it was rented. Been mowing, a lot of mowing on Boulevard, City Hall, and city owned properties. We've added a few more properties in the last week, to the mowing list. We've done pothole patching. We started using hot mix again towards the middle of April. I have 3 tons ordered for tomorrow, because Blackhawk and Gardner are starting to get bad again. With the street sweeper, we've done 4 rounds of sweeping this year. So that was a definite need for sure. It's been a lifesaver. This spring, I took Rhino, our first order of browns for the dry weather outfall inspections. This is part of the stuff we do for our forest permits. Any outfalls that lead out to rivers or creeks, or anything like that, we have to do a dry weather inspection to make sure that we aren't getting water seeping from somewhere else, or if there's any bad discharge or any of that stuff. And then I showed them how to fill out paperwork for it as well. And Jordan Keough went to Rhodes College again in May. This was Jordan's 3rd year. He graduated. And this was Keough's 2nd year. They'll be going again next year and be graduating. And then I signed Ryan and Jordan up for the IPSI program, which focuses more on the boss side of things to kind of give you management details and stuff. Because I want to groom Jordan to up to the point where when I retire, he can get stuff in the role and keep going where we've been going and understand. And then moving on to parks, I'm doing the normal park now, starting to pick up, taking care of the doggy waste and stuff like that. Been going to the park weekly, every summer seasonal, been busy between mowing, weeding, trimming trees around the lake. We're starting to see on the backside where you really couldn't see the path or see the lake from the path. So they're starting to cut a lot of that down, so when you're walking the path, you can see the lake all the way. This gone, the last fairways through the woods have been cut and installed. And then last week, Ryan mowed all the wood fairways with one of the mowers. They had a golf tournament on June 6th. And talking to the guys that really work the disc golf, and I put a lot of their volunteers in them. They sent out some numbers this morning, but there's a lot of positive reviews and an uptick in people coming in and playing. And then the last thing with the parks, we started working on the volleyball team need for ANID. We took down the goalpost that was down there. The scoreboard and the small baseball scoreboard, both scoreboards came down as one piece. We saved them. We stored them inside. We weren't certain what the future was going to be for them. They were going to go somewhere, or what the city wanted to do with them. And then I'm waiting on the okay from Cherry Valley to borrow a bucket truck, and then we'll be removing the lights, pull it down, and pull it out.
How much for your small backhoe?
Pick that up.
I know you got a price on it.
From the cat and from a little cheaper, and I lost the on what side you're looking at, but they're anywhere from 54,000 less.
Okay, I mean, that sounds good. And
Yeah, I know we'll utilize it quite a bit. There's already a couple things that we worked on and Ryan, he goes, no, we haven't had any again. Yeah.
I've got another shovel. Okay, anybody else on that one? Thank you, Steve. Excellent. Very good report. Okay, we got our correspondence for open bids on 532 Hemingway and 731 Dealer Ave. Get a motion?
So
We
don't
usually
get-
don't need a motion off the bid. Everyone went off the bid. We did receive one bid from Go Construction, and I'll read it out loud. For 532 Hemingway Place, South Beloit, Illinois. A cash offer of $35,000 submitted by Brandon Goad Construction LLC. And then there's an outline of what the individual who's made the offer is proposing to do with the property. All code violations fixed to the satisfaction of the cities of Beloit, Winnebago County. The building would be turned into a 2-family rental in accordance to its current R2 zoning. Highly qualified general contractor with over 35 years of experience would be overseeing the project, ensuring that all work is done properly into code. Property cleanup would start within 2 weeks, code violations corrected within 60 days. Planning model to start within 2 weeks of closing, with the projection to be finished within 4 to 6 months, weather permitting. Hoping to be occupied as rental property, or at least it says tenant occupied by spring of 2027. This is a folder that was also submitted as a part of the bid, and it provides some examples of other work that this entity, Goad Construction, has done. I would also note that, to my knowledge, this company is the only company that we received a request to actually do an inspection of both properties, 532 Hemingway and 731 Wheeler. I'll also note that during the walkthrough of 731 Wheeler, there were several other interior conditions that were discovered that were unknown at the time the council decided upon the minimum bid for that property. Now that we know those realities, we'll be asking the council for some direction at a future meeting on perhaps a different approach for selling that property, because obviously after publishing the fact that the property was available for 3 weeks and advertising it on the city's website and on the Facebook page and variety of other methods, we did not receive any offers to purchase 731 Wheeler at the $100,000 price. And we do think that that is highly likely that it is because of the massive interior work to correct all of the electrical, plumbing, and other code violations, including the demolitions that are going to be necessary with regard to 731. So at this point, we've now opened the bids for 532 Hemingway. We do have a matter on the agenda just to discuss the sale of 532 Hemingway. It's item H, new business H. I also know that there's a representative from Beloit Construction here. So if the council is okay with it, perhaps we can move item H up next and just have that discussion so that he's aware as to whether or not we're going to be able to proceed with the transaction. That would probably be dismissed unless you'd like to say.
I'm gonna give a motion to change the agenda and move H up to above A.
Unfinished.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of unfinished business.
So,
Yeah. All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, now we gotta get a motion to accept the bid, right?
No, it's just a motion to discuss the sale of, in this case, it'll be 532 Hemingway.
Motion to discuss the sale.
so
So, as I previously outlined, we did receive a cash offer in the amount of 35,000. That is the minimum bid that the city required as a part of the process. If there's a consensus of council, what I will do then is get the sale documents prepared. Those can go on the agenda for the first meeting in July. We will need to double check with the individual who's made the offer to purchase to see if any title work is, obviously that would be on the buyer, but if the buyer wanted to obtain any title work, that might take some extra time. But we could have all of the ordinances that would require, provide for the sale. We could have those ready for the July 6th meeting, if that's the direction of council.
Have we have somebody here from,
We do represent.
we do, say anything?
you guys covered
All right.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, I want to make sure that Sean was comfortable, she's critical in making the timeline and kind of hoping when it would be occupied again. I just wanted to make sure that Sean was comfortable with that.
Definitely, good, we discussed it when we went through.
Wonderful.
Okay. Anybody else?
As long as there's,
What's the
I just need to
consensus?
know if there's a
What,
consensus.
up or down, yes or no? Fine.
Okay,
Good.
we will get the sale documents prepared then for the first meeting in July for 532 Heaven Way at a total sales price of 35,000. And my office will be in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for being here today.
Okay, now we got that done, let's go to Jay. Or wait, what is?
Unfinished business today.
It's about to approve ordinance 2916.
Let's approve, pay up. Yeah, we want to move pay up, so we can talk about the health.
First, we're gonna do unfinished business. We're gonna finish unfinished
Going
business.
on the driveway. Unfinished business. Let's approve ordinance 2916 amendment section 86-190 and 102-58 concerning driveways of the city code ordinance in motion. This is all about crushed blacktop in the driveway 4 inches and the only thing that's changing in this is that there's new asphalt millings and then you can it has to be maintained. That's the only thing that's any different. Right?
The last ordinance had other locations for the use of recycled asphalt. This ordinance makes clear that it is limited to residential.
Yeah, just right.
Yeah.
Just right. Okay. Motion.
How many trustees?
So. Thank you, please.
Commissioner Prince,
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman, Commissioner Headington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. Well, we moved so many things around here. Okay, we're gonna discuss on. Yeah. Approve resolution 6717 improvements. Selecting the city's health insurance plan for 25-26.
Thank you.
26, 27.
It should.
That's what it says. Good reading.
Oh,
It should be 26,
And I-
27.
yes, it should. It's a renewal starting in July. So they need a motion.
Yeah, we need a motion to come back to say 26, 27, need a motion.
That.
All in favor?
I can discuss this one. I was hoping that we would get to it in time for set from Fire Force to be able to answer any questions. He did tell me that he wouldn't be able to stay until 6 o'clock, but I still thought we might be able to get him there, but that's okay. In short, we did review multiple different packages for our health insurance renewal. We know that health insurance has really seen astronomical increases over the last several years. This year is no different. It's just over a 14% increase to stay with our existing plan. I know that the time is coming where we're going to have to get creative and look at other packages, other than our food shield package, just to provide our employees options. As a reminder, the city pays 85% of our health insurance and employees pay 15%. We decided with Seth's help and also our legal team's help that this year is really not the best year to try to change just because of the number of employees that we have in the fire department. For health insurance renewals, they don't care if it's part-time, seasonal, full-time employees. They just want a roster of all of our employees. And because that number is going to fluctuate greatly with the onboarding of, hopefully 25 paid on call, paid on promise employees, it just wasn't the great 30, but the 32. It just wasn't the right year to try to see anything different. We didn't want to have, a savings this year and then next year we just thought calm and steady is the way. So unfortunately, our recommendation is that we bite the bullet yet again. And God's not to be thrilled about it, but it's just over a 14% increase again this year. So over the last 5 years, it's been between 7 and 15% every single year. The time is coming where we have to get plans for our healthcare, but it's going to be hard when it comes to change. Change is hard, but it's got to come. Last year, we did loop in our marketing units just to start, having a discussion with them, educate them on the process. We're going to have to do one-on-ones between now and next year's renewal to try to go through our health options with every employee. But I think it's the right thing to do as a small town to make sure that every employee is thoroughly included in the decision.
Anybody else? Second place,
Do I need a motion?
yeah, you want to hear one? Motion?
I thought it was the motion.
Oh, okay, do it.
Okay, I'm sorry. The resolution that is in the packets has the correct date. There's just a scrivener's error on the agenda. So it's just a motion and a second to approve the resolution. The resolution itself does not need to be amended.
The motion? No. Second, please.
Commissioner Morris?
Yeah.
Commissioner Prentice?
Yeah.
Commissioner Taylor? Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
And Mayor Fisher?
Yes. All right. That's fine. Every year we go through this. I like that. It's always.
It's part of the process, none of us like it, but. Yeah.
It's got to do one number, 1918 amendment section 2-260-.10 of the code of ordinance to clarify the vote requirements for the dual position of city administrator. The motion for the.
So.
Okay. Okay,
Do you want me to cover this?
yeah, go ahead.
So this was a ordinance that was suggested by our office, and that is clarifying the language in this section of the code. Previously, when the city administrator ordinance was first drafted, the language indicated that a 2/3 vote would be needed for removal, and it was really just kind of an open-ended provision. In truth, what the statute states is that the corporate authorities can discontinue, essentially get rid of the office of city administrator altogether by a 2/3 vote. But removal of the individual serving as a city administrator is done in accordance with the employment agreement, which could be a lesser vote total than 2/3. So 2/3 is to discontinue the actual office of city administrator, and removal is done in accordance with the employment agreement and city's employee handbook. So the ordinance is being amended to correct that, clarify that discrepancy. I can certainly answer any questions that anyone may have.
I think it's working pretty good right now, but.
Good.
I don't know, I don't know if I understand what you just said.
Sure, I can try to explain it a little bit differently. There's a state statute that talks about how elected officials and city councils can discontinue offices altogether, whether it's the office of the city administrator or the office of the city treasurer, finance director, or the office of the streets or sewer superintendent. And to discontinue those offices requires a 2/3 vote. That's a separate decision than whether or not to remove someone from a position. You're removing someone from a position, you may still want to keep that office going because you might decide that you want to appoint a different person to fill that office. So all we are doing with this proposed change is to clarify the vote total for discontinuation of an office as opposed to the vote total for what would be a removal of someone serving as a city administrator.
Mayor, if you'd like, I can say it one more way because I've explained this to many friends and concerned family members today. The difference is if you want to remove me from the seat, you just need a simple majority. If you don't want the position to exist at all anymore in the city, it requires a 2/3 vote, which could be.
That's right.
But
That's how I explained it to my parents too.
that'd be a big mistake here, I can tell that, but that,
I want you to vote yes for this. Vote yes.
But see, we've done, this is clarified just like we did with the department head. We made sure that they were protected because this council can change, five can come in, 5 can leave, it's that easy. And when you got good people, like I've always said, you got good people with department heads in there. You should keep them because it's hard to find. And, but anyway, I'm done speaking. Fine.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman, Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
and Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, discuss approve ordinance 2919, authorizing the sale of certain personnel property owned by the city of South Beloit and motion. And this is about the squad.
Yeah.
That's just sort of two old stuff, we have two new ones, so we're gonna recycle two old ones for the property room back. One of them is, they're both 2024 December, one has over 1,000 miles, the other one has over 81,000 miles.
2020.
20, they're 2024. They're 2024. Or something.
Well, I think it's in 2024.
2020.
The model is a 2020.
Yeah.
Ford Interceptor.
Yeah.
So when I first was elected here, we had 7 cars with over 100,000 miles on. So we got a pretty good fleet right now. Yeah. Very good.
Any other views for anything?
Let's see one.
Okay, Megan, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald,
Yes.
and Commissioner Edelman.
Discuss approval, resolution number 6714, approving a proposal for additional engineering services for lift station and force main upgrade project in motion.
So.
Yeah. Okay. We got this. I'd like to say one thing right now. I brought this up. Yeah. When this engineering, when we started, I was looking through here on a. And we started, it was 309,000 for engineering, well, no, it was the original agreement. And then we added 15, and we added, this was added 77, now we're up to 437,000. That's I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's a lot of money. And every time I see ads 50 and 75,000, it actually makes me wonder, why wasn't this on there? Because I know time has went by, blah, blah, blah. But it's still money that we're spending. Okay, go ahead, I'm done.
If
Yeah,
yeah, all right, so on June 11th, I put out a memo, kind of breaking everything down. As the mayor's correct, 390,500 for the original contract that was done in October of 21. That's 2021. Now we're at Fairgram has added some extra cost that was already accounted for in an archaeological study that was required and actually was originally contested about some of the results where they had to do soil checking for Native American possibilities over at our lead. We had a rate study we approved that was kind of cost was 50,000, and then the original EPA loan filings and documents for that update. Now we're coming back for another 77,900 EPA updates because it's been so long. We need to refile, resend our permitting and everything. The plans, there's some spec changes because of differences have changed over that period of time with the EPA and with revolving loan requirements. Add on to that, the railroad is required extra secondary geotech review process, meaning they're not accepting our engineers. They want us to contract their engineer to review our engineers' findings to make sure that we are protecting them. The railroad. We are boring under the Rock River and railroad, which includes the Corps engineers as well. That is another cost as they permit everybody, including their permit for 5 years, and then they have to renew it. Past that 5 years, they so if you fall in the last year, that 5 years, you're doing it next year, but this will be towards the beginning. So the total added cost over the last 4.5 years, or about that, is $128,000 more. Keep in mind, lift station costs have gone up a lot too. It's estimated at $8 million. When we first started talking, 7 plus years ago, we were in 3.3 to 3.5 million. So when we talk about costs, it's really accelerated. The current percentage, if most of our road projects are around 15% of your total cost of your roads, is going to be cost about 15%. Just using that as an example. Right now, we're at, if the bid comes in at 8 million, we're at 5.4% of the cost for that lift station. And as I remind you, that lift station is going to have 2 lines going under the Rock River and the railroad, which is where a huge amount of cost is going to be. There's another part of the cost that's going to be getting the gravity line source, so we can go with 2 lift stations that are aging instead of having an old one and the newer one that's going to offset that. So I kind of broke everything down. You know, it took us not fair grand, a couple of years to procure the land. Lots of different roadblocks appeared, not to anybody's fault here in this room. Just kind of how things worked out. The railroad is asked for extra things to be taken care of with geotech and Corps engineers, as I had just mentioned. Of course, because we're redoing or having a renew, send out for another plan, we're updating the IEPA loan plan, just so we have a better chance of getting that loan. So I'm really prepared to talk about it. I'm not sure what your total questions are. We can't continue to wait on this lift station for it to fail. At this point, there was a draft release back on May 30th, I think it was, where we fall just outside of the loan availability, revolving loan availability for the lift station. Based off of our point schedule, we were looking at that, but not all those people that have been granted the loan will have money to do their portion of it, or be able to take it on, or are even prepared. So there's still a chance we either get in on the final loan, revolving loan, or supplemental this fall. And all of this is to prepare for all of that. And this gets us up to bidding. Keep in mind, at 5.4 based off what the estimate is now, only gets us up to bidding. It doesn't take us into building or inspections and those types of things. So I want you to think that number is going to go up more, the percentage wise. So that's what I put together. I reviewed it spent a lot of time and looking at all the numbers. I am totally comfortable with what is here. I know that it's more money. I understand where Tom's coming from. But who could have thought we'd be spending 4.5 more years and maybe even a little bit longer.
I want to add to that, Jeff, that what we really have is a situation, Mayor, where this council's going to have to figure out how long we want to continue on without the revolving loan. Obviously, we would love to have a very low interest loan, but the truth is that probably in the next year, we need to be prepared to go out and get the thing done, even if we don't get that loan. We hope that the funding is available. We hope that our project is 99.9% ready, and maybe we can move up the eligibility list. But if we are sitting here a year from now and still talking about discharging into the Rock River 6 years ago and having not fixed it, we're going to have to get it done with or without a low interest loan. And that's the part that's really unfortunate. We're trying to get that IPA low interest loan funding, but if that's not there, I don't even know what that looks like, Don. We're going out and trying to secure money for this, but that's really the more critical piece. We waited and we waited and we waited, and we want to try to have everything as perfect as we can for IPA loan eligibility. But at some point, we have to fix the main that discharged sewage to the Rock River, and the EPA will make us one way or the other. That will be the next step. We have to do it, and we'll be getting.
Well, definitely needed. We all know that. Definitely needed.
I don't even think it's a matter of us waiting. I think it amazes me how much time it takes to get any project done at all. I mean, it is kind of a project that it's crazy, building an ambulance taking 4 years now. Most of the projects that we get started on this concept, we'll never see any time. Then we're up, it's crazy the amount of time to get any of this stuff done. And costs just keep going.
11 years ago, they were talking about Blackhawk and Gardner Street. Well, look at it, it's hard to drive down with the new car, but you got nice shocks on, I hate to drive around there. That old ambulance. Maybe it's a good thing you're not in the back. But I'm just serious, it takes a while, okay, Brian.
So just one more thing I wanted to add regarding the Scorgan project. So as Jeff mentioned, yes, we did get the preliminary project list back from the APA, the funded project list. And we were below the threshold on projects to be funded, this part or this year and then next year. That is a preliminary list. They have to send that out for public comment. I believe it has to be out for 30 days. So that final funding list will come out at the end of July, middle or end of July. I believe that it's the end of July. At that point, that is the set project list. IEPA says all of these projects, will move forward. Between that time and the end of the year, there is an opportunity that some of those projects will fall off the list, as Jeff stated. Those communities might not say we don't have our design, our design completely finished. We don't have permits in hand, whatever the case is. If those projects fall off the list at the end of the year, the IEPA will release what's called bypass funding, and they will tell us how much money is available that we could apply for bypass funding at the end of the year if our project does not get above that scoring threshold. So at the time that the final project list does come out at the end of July, Bear Graham, if we're on the intended funding list, great. If we are not on the intended funding list, we will be reaching out to the IEPA and figuring out exactly what we need to do to get ourselves in position for the bypass funding. We feel like getting the project to be shovel ready, as in bidding complete and project, fully designed, that we could get ourselves in that position. And yeah, hopefully here in a month or so, we will, we'll know if our score does creep up next to that level. So
We read,
we are not ready. We do not have design completed. So all of the permit updates and things that are before you in this proposal, those are the things that have to still be completed. I would say we're roughly 75% done with design. But yeah, re-permitting through the Army Corps of Engineers, the railroad, IEPA, updating bid specifications. Our target date is to be ready in the fall for bidding. So that is what we submitted to the IEPA as part of our funding list. It would be ready and out for bid, I think, before December this year.
we had to wait this long, we couldn't do it earlier.
Sure.
We were at one, sorry to
Nope,
interrupt, but we were at one point with just the station design, engineering at 90%. So we were waiting on that 10%, but because of the delays and the time, we're putting a little bit more to do, but it's not necessarily the blueprints design, it's the other stuff that's changed that we're looking at that's set us behind. It won't take very long to make up that difference, Mayor. It's just getting it approved and getting it done. I don't believe it'll take a ton of time. If it was gonna take us a long time, it'd been probably really expensive. So right now, we've already spent 50,000. The real question is the 77,000, which is the additional.
I know every day we wasted on building that sewer plant cost us a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
If you just in the sewer plant, there was a 1% sales tax went out many years ago, and the estimated cost for that with some line replacement that was, I believe, 18 or 19 million. We ended up spending 37 million on the treatment plant alone.
So raised up the last year, 5 million. Anybody else? I mean, maybe.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Avery, Commissioner Heatherington,
Yes.
and Mayor Fish.
Yes, that's approved resolution 6715 regarding the release of continued held executive session meetings and construction of the executive session audio. Motion, please.
So. Second.
Roxanne,
Yeah, these requests the direction that came from council coming out of the session for the 23, 24 to 25 minutes.
we went through all that, but
Just a roll call.
we got a motion.
Yeah.
Megan, please.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner England, Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
and Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
and Mayor Fisher.
Yes, discuss approve bailment and assumption of risk agreement with the Foster Coach Sale for,
Mayor, wait, we
What?
missed item E. Discuss approve
Oh, I didn't
resolution
see that
number
being done.
716.
oh, there it is. Okay, discuss approve resolution 6716. Approving a proposal agreement for the professional service of fairground guard EFAF inventory reduction initiative support motion.
So, second.
I guess that's what we talked about, right?
Jeff, you want to
Okay.
do the PFAS? Yeah.
Please, back in end of January, we received our draft permit for our treatment plant and PS permit. Um, when we got it, there was a lot of new things in there. One of them that you hear from time to time in the public news in that is PFAS. There's I believe now upwards of 7,000 chemical byproducts from different processes. One of them that most of us are aware of, and definitely is the byproducts that come from the old-fashioned fire retardant foam that was used. So those are showing up in our water system, and our treatment plant isn't specifically designed to deal with those, but what they're finding is also contributing chemicals can cause the PFAS to combine again, and it's a lot of science that goes into what molecules and chemistry and a little bit more than I can handle. The gist of it is the draft permit is going to specify these requirements that we're going to have to review and do detection and find any contributing sources within our community. It is not a pre-treatment program, but in our world, probably as close as we're going to get to one until we're mandated. That would be mandated probably when we get much larger, but we're going to have to do the work regardless. I've solicited Fairgrand to assist us in this. We've been on it for a little bit. Once we have the new permit, which could be held up for a while as it is being discussed with different groups about what is acceptable or not. As far as a discharge permit, it could change, but we have to assess, evaluate, and know where we're going to be looking at for chemicals or byproducts within 12 months of the permit being issued, and within 24 months having a plan to mitigate those situations. Some of this is going to take a lot of time working with our industry to verify. The first 12 months could be difficult because obviously they might not see us as being friendly, even though our intent is to assess, not to assess any fines or any expenses, just to figure out what there is and how do we go about preventing it if they're even using it. A lot of the new companies have, moved away from those products years ago, just as the fire service has with the fire retardant foam, come up with a new product, and just some of that still is residual out there, and it's hard to get rid of. If we wait, we're going to be farther behind the 8 ball, and it's going to cost more because it won't allow me to allocate more time to our staff to chase after it as we have time for. Meaning we'll be on that time clock. I want to get this started before the clock starts ticking, so that we can be ready and we can spread it out. The total cost is estimated, I believe, at 15,000. That's over most of 2 years. I can't tell you that the most of it won't show up in the first year or not. It's all like the total cost to do this project over 2 years. So there shouldn't be no added unless we're not doing our part. There shouldn't be any added cost to it. Next year because something changed. They brought in a couple of people into Fairgrand that are accustomed to dealing with these types of requirements to help out as new staff over the last year or so, and I've met them and we've talked over where we're headed with this. I feel comfortable and confident that this won't be a huge deal and that's where we'll be at. But we're really just these are new requirements, and the draft permit has a bunch of other requirements that are just gonna lead into, once we have the permits good for 5 years. My guess is in 5 years from now, that permit's gonna be even more restrictive than it is now, but this gets us through the next 5 years, once it's issued.
Gotta do it.
I'm happy to answer any other questions about it if I can something.
This is similar, Mayor, to us, we need some assistance from time to time with our school permit, there's a lot that we can do. We try not, but sometimes we need our house engineering team to make sure. We don't separate it, we need it system.
We built a new plant, they have it,
Right,
and they caught up to us already. Okay, so I would think,
Jerry.
I know, I understand, it. I'm not blaming you.
We don't, I know you're not, it's a big push, and unfortunately, you know, we have some companies that didn't know what they were doing, probably back in the 70s and continue to do it because it was profitable for them. Now we're all paying the price after the fact. When we started building this plan, when we started engineering this plan, I guess it's that's when we started. I remember going around with the equipment, talking about different things, we talking about phosphorus removal, nutrient removal, other possible nutrients in the future. We're all here to that. But right now, they're talking about this in registering, testing in not parts per billion, which we're used to, accustomed to dealing with, but parts per trillion. So very micro, and they in fact didn't approve a test method until last summer that's able to test down for those chemicals until last summer. So this is all really new, really broad. It's just because it is a chemical that they labeled as lifetime, meaning once it gets into your body, it doesn't come out. Just like mercury back in the day, your body could handle up to a certain level of mercury, then organs started to fail. This is the same thing. Keep in mind, we're talking about trace amounts, and some of it's already in our aquifers in different places. So it's a really tough place to be down your right, but they don't even have true handle on how to go about treating it for any treatment plant anywhere. And this might be something that we're chasing, you know, input to it. I don't know.
Must,
Just need a roll call vote.
I know, I'm ready.
Commissioner Whittington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yeah.
Commissioner Perkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman, and Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, discuss approved, here we go. Discuss approved development and assumption of risk of agreement with the Foster Coach Sale Inc. for ambulance loan, your motion.
So. Second.
And this is all, chief, go ahead. Dan, you got the floor.
I'll make mine quick. You guys, today actually we were down both ambulances for about an hour. And we still keep unfortunately double money in these older ambulances. So we're gonna borrow, unfortunately, it's an older ambulance, but it's in good shape. Just to get us by until we get the new one. But let these other two along, so we're trying to do as much as we can here, but today, in fact, when we had the problems, that's cardiac arrest. So
Now we got the employees, but we don't have the equipment.
we get the equipment, we're just
It doesn't run.
you know, they're running pretty rough.
I see it all the time. Yeah, we gotta get, I mean, chief has looked into our new ambulance, but it's still October. The rest of it, that'd be almost 4 years.
Well, that's the unfortunate part, is the person, those ambulances, the intent was for a 5-year lifespan. You know, 10 to 5 years, we looked at it, and now we're 10 years out, can't replace that, so we need to get it on a decent schedule.
What's schedule coming up?
And some ridiculous.
we did actually go to review this contract, there's nothing out of the.
No, I- Yeah.
Unless there's any further questions.
Sure.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes, roll call, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman, Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
and Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. This is much easy stuff here. Retro approval of hiring of Kenji Robbie for the administrative record clerk position for $19 an hour. Get a motion, please.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyway, let's talk about it. Discuss approve revised offer employment for Beloit Ortega for the rate of $15.60 an hour for part-time seasonal employee. Get a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss approve revised offer employment for Garrett Clayton at a rate of $15.60 an hour, part-time seasonal employee. Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Discuss approve revised order employment for Cesar Alfredo for a rate of $15.60 an hour, part-time seasonal employee. Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, let's do that. All right, get a motion to,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
all in favor? Thank you for coming.